In 1864, two ships wrecked on the same island in the same year. The first had 25 men aboard, and nobody survived. On the other hand, the second ship, which only had 5 members aboard, survived. But how? Were they aura farmers? Nah, just kidding. But they can teach you how to survive if you were in that situation. The island was Auckland Island, roughly 290 miles south of New Zealand. Remote, cold, and storm-blasted. There were no settlements, no rescue routes, and no nearby help. In that one year, 2 wrecks dumped men on opposite ends of the island and set up a brutal, real-world comparison of choices under pressure. Here's how it all started. The Grafton ran ashore on the 3rd of January, 1864, in Carnley Harbor. There were 5 men who made it. Captain Thomas Musgrave, Francois Edouard Raynal, Alexander Alec McLaren, George Harris, and Henry Forges. A few months later, on the 11th of May, 1864, the Invercalled wrecked on the northern cliffs with 25 men aboard, 19 of whom made it to land. Same island, same year. But the situations were already starting to diverge. From the first day, the Grafton men got to work. They pulled whatever they could from the wreck. Nails, timber, canvas, a small supply of biscuits and salted meat, a few tools, a gun. They found a sheltered spot in Carnley Harbor, set up a basic hut at a place later called Epigwait, and split up the work. Someone hunted, someone chopped wood, someone repaired clothing, someone kept watch. Musgrave and Raynal started writing everything down. What they ate, what the weather was like, what needed fixing, just to keep track and make sure nothing got forgotten. Every small task had a purpose, and everyone knew their role. Hunting was a challenge on this island. They tracked seals along the beaches, quietly approaching so they wouldn't spook them. They used sharpened sticks and makeshift spears to fish from streams. And when birds were spotted on cliffs, McLaren climbed carefully, throwing stones or using snares to catch them. Every meal was earned, and every success was celebrated quietly, a small victory that kept morale high. Meanwhile, on the northern side, the Invercalled men were trying to do the same things. They pulled food, tools, and materials from the wreck and tried to set up shelters. But with 19 people on shore, it was harder to organize. Decisions had to be made about who hunts, who cooks, who repairs, who keeps watch. And that's when disagreements started. People argued about the best way to use food and resources. Fights broke out over who had eaten more, who was working less. Small victories were overshadowed by tension. You could feel the difference already. Back with the Grafton, they focused on what mattered first: shelter, food, and keeping warm. They repaired boots and clothing, hunted seals and birds, preserved meat, and rotated duties so nobody got too tired. They made small tools, fashioned needles from bone, and reinforced their hut against storms. Every little success, like catching a seal or patching a torn canvas, was a triumph that kept them going. They kept the fire burning day and night. Every action was part of a plan. They worked together and followed the rules they made for themselves. The Invercalled men tried similar things, but because there were more of them, and the group wasn't as organized, things went differently. Some men grabbed extra rations, others skipped tasks. Shelters weren't finished on time. Arguments about who should do what wasted precious hours. Tensions rose slowly. Small victories, like catching a bird or building a lean-to, were overshadowed by conflicts. And the pressure of the island kept rising, day by day, month by month. The Grafton men kept their routine. They made sure their shelter stayed strong, their food lasted, and every task was done. They planned ahead, saved important materials for repairs, and even thought about building a boat to escape if needed. Those small choices and tiny victories added up. When the time came, after about 18 months, Musgrave, Raynal, and McLaren managed to fix a small boat and set off into the Southern Ocean on the 19th of July, 1865. After 5 days of rough seas, they reached Stewart Island on the 24th of July, 1865, got help, and returned for the remaining 2 men. All 5 survived. Everything they did, writing logs, splitting tasks, rationing, staying disciplined, hunting successfully, celebrating small wins, made it possible. On the Invercalled side, the outcome was very different. As the weeks passed, early disagreements and lack of structure made things harder. Supplies ran out faster than they should have. Shelters were incomplete, and disputes wasted energy. When rescuers finally arrived more than a year later, only 3 men were still alive. Exposure, hunger, and illness had done their part. But the collapse of teamwork and trust was what really decided the result. The island didn't change, but the choices of the people did. It all comes down to this: Same island, same harsh environment, same storms and food, and two very different outcomes. One group survived because they worked together, followed routines, planned carefully, and celebrated every small victory. The other group didn't because disputes, poor decisions, and selfish acts tore them apart. If you were on that island, could you have done the same as the Grafton men? Could you have kept order and hope alive when everything around you was falling apart? Click it on your screen so you don't miss what's coming next.